Hi class, welcome back. Um, we're gonna continue with the social studies. Now about the Trojan War. So last time we started talking about the Trojan War, how it started, and how the war goes on. And today we're going to continue that one. Okay, so remember how the Greeks believed that the Trojan War actually started in Mount Olympus with during the feast, where the gods and goddesses having a feast, and Ares, the goddess that wasn't invited, get mad, and she caused trouble for the goddesses. Okay, about that golden apple that she toast, and you know with the label of, what's that label, for the fairest of all. Okay, so, and because of that, like a lot of goddesses line up for that, felt that they deserved that golden apple. But it narrowed down into three choices, correct? You remember, it's Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena. And these three goddesses went to Zeus, but Zeus doesn't want to decide because he doesn't want trouble with these goddesses. So he decided that to send them to Paris, who was a good-looking prince. I mean, yeah, good-looking king. He's the king of Troy. He was the king of Troy. So they went to Troy, and to Paris, and of course Paris was able to choose one. Who did he choose? You remember? It's Aphrodite. Why? Because she made the best offer. She gave Paris the best reward, which was the most beautiful woman in the world, was named Helen. Okay, so but Helen was married to the king of Sparta, and that's where the trouble begins. That's where the war, you know, uh, began to happen, because the king of Sparta was furious about it that Paris took his wife. So he rallied around, talked to the other major city-states in Greece, and he was able to raise an army to fight, okay, the Trojans. So in short, they sailed 1,000 ships to Troy to fight for the war. And we end up the war being a deadlock, right? Last time we talked about. So let's see as we continue if it's really a deadlock, or did someone won the war. So first, I want you to read this vocabulary word before I go on. Sell into slavery. Sell into slavery. Celebrate. Celebrate. So you'll be hearing those words as I read. Offering. Offering. Enormous. Enormous. I hope you're reading with me, okay? Patrol. Patrol. Approach. Approach. Sacrifice. Sacrifice. Inspect. Inspect. And lookout post. Lookout post. Okay, so please listen carefully as I read, okay? The Trojan War went on for 10 long years. Okay, so it's not a deadlock because it went on for 10 long years. And many warriors on both sides fought bravely, and many died in the battle. But neither side could win. So that's a problem. Many died, but no one's winning. So many men on both sides had died bravely in battle. Then a big surprise happened. Okay? So early one morning, listen carefully, the Trojan guards went up on their lookout post high on the walls around Troy. So remember, Troy built a wall to protect their city, right? So the wall has, look, you remember the Great Wall of China before, how they built it to protect China from the nomads, from the people that is trying to enter the place. So the same thing here. Remember, their wall has lookout posts too. So same with this city, they have lookout posts. So the guard went up to, it's like a routine that they do. So the guards went up to the lookout post around Troy, and they couldn't believe their eyes. There was an enormous wooden horse outside the gate. Enormous, like huge. Then one of the guards looked toward the Greek camp and noticed something strange. He couldn't see any smoke from the fires where the Greeks cooked their food. He couldn't see any men patrolling around the Greeks' camp. Okay? Now, they have guards that patrols around the camp because they built a wall too to protect their camp, the Greeks. Now, the guard looked out at the sea beyond the empty camp. The Greek ships were gone. So basically everything is gone. Alright. Now while some Trojans went to inspect the huge horse, another group approached the Greek camp. As they came up to the gate of the camp, there was no sound of voices or activity. Nothing but the quiet sound of waves breaking against the shore. Cautiously, the Trojans pushed open the gate and peered inside. So the camp had been deserted during the night, so it seems like it was abandoned. Okay, no movement, nothing at all. As the Trojans walked back to their own gate and the giant horse, so they brought the horse with them. Remember the giant horse? A frightened-looking man appeared from a swamp near the camp. He said he no longer wanted to be a Greek and begged to be allowed to stay in Troy. He told the Trojans that the Greeks believed that the goddess Athena was angry with them. They wanted to please her so that she would allow them to stop fighting and return home to Greece. The man claimed the Greeks had built the wooden horse as an offering to Athena. He said that they had planned to kill him and offer him as a sacrifice. I'm going to show you the wooden horse. Okay, I'll show you the wooden horse. That's the wooden horse. Can you see it? Okay. Alright, so according to this man, this wooden horse was built as an offering to the goddess Athena, okay? Because they thought that she was angry. Now, he said they also planned to kill him and offer him as a sacrifice to the goddess, so that's why he had run away. Now, some of the Trojans did not believe this man's story, but most of the Trojans believed him. So they welcomed him into their city and dragged the enormous horse through the gates and into Troy. So they brought in the horse too. And this man also, they allowed the men to stay in their camp, in their city. Now that day and far into the night, the Trojans are drank and celebrated their victory and the end of the war. Finally, so they thought that the war is over, they won, so they celebrated, all of them, until the last Trojan went to bed. Okay, so they stayed up very late until everyone was in bed. Now when all was quiet in the city, there was a creaking noise from the wooden horse. Slowly, a hidden door opened in the horse, and out popped a Greek soldier. followed by another and another and another. Okay, are you following me? Now the Greeks had tricked the Trojans into bringing them right into their city. Now the Greeks who had been hiding in the horse quietly opened the gates, and in poured the Greek army, which had sailed back to Troy that night. While they're having party, now the Greek soldiers sailed back to the shore of Troy. Now, moving as silently as possible, the Greeks spread through the city, setting buildings on fire. When the Trojans finally realized something was going on, or something wrong is happening, it was too late. As they jumped out of their beds and ran out of their homes, the waiting Greeks struck them down. By morning, Troy lay in ashes. The Trojan men had been killed, and women and children had been captured and to be sold to slavery. Now Helen was returned to the king of Sparta, and they sailed with the Greek fleet back to Greece. And that was the end of the Trojan War. So that's how the Trojan War ended. Now, what do you think made the Greeks won the war? What do you think? You see how they made a strategy. You know, like when there's a war, it's important to have plan and strategy. You know, and so in this story, so the Trojans were kind of being tricked, right? Okay, so well, so for once, the war was fought for 10 long years, and many people died already. Many warriors died from on both sides. But they're very brave to continue on their fights. But then one day, it's just stopped. Okay, everything just went quiet, and all the while the Trojans thought that they won the war because the Greeks seemed to abandon their posts, like their camp. Okay, the ships were gone and everything is just quiet, and there's just this wooden horse in front of their city. Now, because of that, the Trojans thought that, oh, the war is over, so let's go celebrate, let's have the party. And everyone just enjoyed the party and went to sleep. And then while they're sleeping, out came the Greek soldiers. Okay, so because soldiers are hiding inside a wooden horse, they didn't even inspect inside the wooden horse, right? They were just amused of this wooden horse, and they believe in the story of that man. You remember of the great stories he made. So because of that, Troy went to ashes. Like, it was burned down, men were killed, and women and children were captured and sold to slavery. So that's what happened. That's how nasty the war is. But then, the Greek was successful in getting back Helen. Okay? Just because of Helen, the most beautiful woman in the world, many people died in that war. Okay? And then, so ultimately the Greek won the war. Troy was destroyed. So that's how the war. So what do you think made the Trojan won the war? I wonder what's your answer. So please answer the question. Okay, so it's not the power, it's not the man, it's not the strong army that made the Greeks won the war. It's not even the goddess. Okay, but they did something that made them won the war. I want you to answer that question. Okay, so till next time, and enjoy answering the question, class. Bye bye.